G'day folks. Aaron here from 4x4 East Coast. Coming to you from the big DR650. So today we're going to talk about just a little thing, so shouldn't take too long. This is the little thing right here. I don't know if I got you on me. So a couple of people have asked me how I got the instruments indicators, like the indicator cluster I'll call it, up into that position. Pretty easy. I made a little bracket that goes in behind the speedo. So the reason why I did it is the indicators used to be way down there. I've got a couple of switches running off there now, and it gets pretty hard to see. So yeah, that's why I put it up there, so you could see when you left your bloody indicator on. Rightio, I'll take you back to the workshop now after my little ride, and I'll take that front fairing off, and I'll show you how I made the bracket, or show you how the bracket sits. I won't show you how I made it. It's pretty simple. Yeah, righto. Let's see you back in the workshop. Yeah, before we go back to the workshop though, I'm going to try and get a shot of that sunset. Been up here the last few weeks, and just one day a week, and I've missed the sunset every time I take a photo with the bike, because you need the obligatory sunset photo with the bike when you ride in the afternoon. So I'm trying to find a good spot that I can take a photo. Oh, I might catch the sunset. It's still up pretty high. Here we go. Don't know if you can see it from here. Go down here, eh? See if we can find this sunset. Check it out on Instagram. I'm back in the shed, and this is where, I don't know how good it came up on the helmet cam, but this is what I'm talking about. This instrument, the indicator cluster here, where you've got the indicator, neutral light, and the high beam light. They used to be way down here. It's really hard to see, but I've got some, hang on, I'll see if I can get the camera down there. I've got couple of switches down in there now. I made a little plate for some switches. One of those switches runs the floodlights, these spotlights. These spotlights. So one of them switches is for that. The other one's just a blank. I haven't got anything running off that yet, but I made a bracket for this to move it up here. Now I'll take this front fairing off, and so you can get a better look from the other side. This is the bracket here. Goes in under here. There's two little nuts just under here that hold the speedo on. So there's two nuts here and a nut over there. So anyway, I used these two nuts. So that bracket goes back in, and there's two holes where those bolts go through from the speedo. This is all one piece of aluminium. It's bent, and if you can have a look in here, this is a little bit loose. But just, and there you can just see that I've cut out a section that's just enough. There's a tiny little lip on that sort of holds it there, and then basically I'll just rewire these back to the same holes. And if I was your uncle, you can see here, this is where it used to be, and I've got this switch here runs the spotlights, and this one here's just blank. That's another piece of aluminium. I just got some little bolts to go right through those holes where the same holes were for this. So what I might do, I might take this bracket off and just show you the rough shape of what it is. You got to bear in mind that I'm not a metal fabricator in any way. This was just a lot of trial and error. I made a couple of cardboard templates, and I actually made this this is probably the third attempt at making this. So alrighty, I'll get a spanner, and we'll see if we can't get this bracket off. Alright, so these nuts are 10 mil. Now if you notice, I have put, these are the original nuts. So these are the original nuts, and then I've also put a spring washer. I've also put a spring washer on top of the nut. So there's another nut and spring washer, and over this side I think I used the spring washer on this one. Need to get this third one off, because you've got to pull the whole lot off, so you can get these off. Oh, there's the nut. Rightio, so the speedo just lifts off. Gently lifts off, and then this just comes off as well. Now I have put, originally this comes with rubber mounting, so I took those rubber mounts off because they weren't good enough to suit what I needed, and then in between I'll put a grommet in this hole here. Now I'm not sure of the size of this grommet, but that's it there. That's one of the grommets there, and then I'll put a grommet in the hole, and then I'll put a grommet above this. So there'll be a grommet either side of this, so there's less vibration. So rightio, that, I'll just I'll zoom you back a bit, and I'll take this off, and I'll show you the whole bracket. So it's just, there's two screws here, and I had to shape this so I could get the screwdriver in. I've used some coarse thread wood screws to go into that plastic. And then that just comes out of there. Rightio. This is the bracket. Alright, that sits against the fairing. And if you have a look, that's the hole that the switch, let's call it an instrument cluster. That's the hole that the instrument cluster fits in. Now, so that's the shape I made the bottom. You've got the two holes that the bolts from the speedo go through. Get a look at it from that angle. And that angle, you notice I've made it so that the speedo basically sits here. So this here is on an angle to get away a little bit from the speedo, and it kind of centers this plate up nearly in the center of the of your line of sight when you're riding. So that lifts it up, basically makes that level with the top of the speedo. Alrighty. So it's pretty easy. These little holes here. Well, I had to drill out the little holes on the side for the screws. I don't think you have to do these bottom ones so much. Hang on. So that's how it sits in there. Okay. So those holes that I've made in the side, they're only just sitting there, but they work. They marry up with those screw holes. Now there's only two screw holes and they're both on the one side, so it makes it a little bit difficult. Yeah, so it's basic. It's a basic bracket that anyone can make. All this is just folded up in the vise. That's why I don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit rough. That's not really straight just there. Yeah, it's a little bit rough, but when that's sitting on it and that's in behind the fairing, hey, you do not see any of it. So yeah, that's it. I had, like I said before, I had a mate of mine asked me how I got this up the top, and also one of my subscribers asked me how I moved this, what sort of a bracket I made. So I thought, what a great idea to make a bloody video about it. So this cost me pretty much nothing because it was made out of scrap from that I had laying around in the shed. I don't think it's it's probably 3 millimeter aluminium. Bends up pretty easy when you put it in the vise. My tip would be that if you're going to bend something like that up, bend it all up and then cut that big hole out, because otherwise this little piece here, there's not much for it. Hang on, can you see that? There's not much for it to hang on to, and you could end up snapping that off. So yeah, bloody basic. Cost me zilch. I already had those rubber grommets you see me use. I already had them laying around. I bought a big pack of 100 of them on eBay, all different sizes, ages ago for like $10, something like that. So hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give me a bloody thumbs up. Hit that big red button down the below that says subscribe. Doesn't cost you nothing. Just give it a whack. Hit it as hard as you can. And yeah, don't forget, hit me up on Instagram. Alright, I'll catch you on the next video. Thanks for watching. I see somebody up there walking. She spotted me. What's happening?
Fancy meeting you here. I said, that's Aaron, I betcha. We heard you coming. What are you doing?
Oh, just getting some footage.
Oh, from what?
Of you.
Oh,
What now?
Oh, it's recording. You fucker.